Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission, as always, is to cut through the noise. We take complex info, like, today, a detailed market research report, and we pull out the key insights.
The really important bits.
Exactly. Those surprising facts, those aha moments, to get you quickly up to speed. Today, we're navigating the data, highlighting patterns, and really exploring what these numbers mean.
And the focus today is quite specific, but really vital.
It is. We're zeroing in on the global thoracic catheters market. We've got comprehensive projections here spanning 2021 right through to 2033.
Looking at growth, sales revenue, those compound annual growth rates, KJ, across different regions, different countries.
Now, you might be thinking, thoracic catheters sounds a bit niche, maybe.
It might seem that way initially.
But the story these numbers tell is, well, it's actually fascinating. It shows consistent, pretty significant growth right across the globe.
And maybe just a quick clarification for listeners. Thoracic catheters are crucial medical devices. They're used to drain fluid or air from around the lungs, the chest cavity.
Right, often vital after surgery or for urgent things like a collapsed lung fluid buildup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, specialized, but their demand really taps into fundamental healthcare needs.
Definitely. And to kick things off with that big picture view, the global market was already generating $246.329 million back in 2021.
Okay, so a solid base.
A very solid base. And it wasn't static. It grew quite a bit, reaching $317.37 million by 2025.
Right.
And looking ahead, the forecast is for it to hit, get this, $526.826 million by 2033.
Wow. So more than doubling its size in just over a decade.
Pretty much, yeah.
That works out to an overall global CAGR, an annual growth rate of 6.54%.
Yeah.
That seems consistently strong for this kind of medical device, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. That global snapshot tells us straight away this isn't, some fleeting trend. There's a clear, sustained, and growing demand. It underlines how essential these devices are in modern healthcare.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's see how this global picture breaks down region by region, because that's where we often see the really interesting variations.
Good idea. Where should we start? North America.
Let's do it. North America, obviously a major player in medical devices.
Okay. So North America started at $77.002 million in 2021. That grew to $96.234 million by 2025. And the projection for 2033 is $154.805 million.
So still very significant growth there.
Definitely. The region's overall CGR is 6.122%.
And within North America, I assume the U.S. is the powerhouse.
Unsurprisingly, yes. The U.S. market alone was $52.651 million in 2021.
Right.
It's projected to hit $111.142 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 6.443%, actually slightly higher than the regional average.
Okay, that's interesting. But the overall regional average is lower. So Canada and Mexico must be growing a bit differently.
Exactly. Canada shows a CAGR of just under 6%, 5.988% to be precise. Still healthy growth, projected to reach over $16 million.
Okay.
And Mexico, while still growing, shows the most moderate expansion in this specific group, with a CGR of 4.982%, projected to reach about $27.5 million.
So what stands out to you about those varying growth rates within North America? Any initial thoughts?
Well, it could reflect a few things, maybe the differing maturity of the healthcare systems or perhaps specific investment priorities. The U.S. has this advanced infrastructure, maybe faster adoption of procedures requiring these catheters.
Right.
Whereas Mexico's rate might point to, different spending patterns or perhaps a slower integration of certain thoracic procedures compared to the U.S. and Canada.
That makes sense. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic to Europe. The report suggests a picture of strong and maybe even more diverse growth there.
Yes, definitely diverse. The overall region started at nearly $64 million in 2021, and it's expected to hit over $144 million by 2033. Now, look at its CAGR, 6.92%.
Oh, interesting. So Europe's overall growth rate is actually higher than North America's regional average.
It is. That's a key point. And when you dive into the individual countries, you really see the range.
Okay, let's hear some examples.
Well, you have the UK and Germany both growing strongly around the 7% mark for their CAGRs. 7.019% for the UK, 7.8081% for Germany.
Pretty impressive.
Very. But then France actually leads these larger economies slightly with a CGR of 7.122%.
Okay, so strong performance from the big players.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned diversity.
Right, and this is where it gets, as you said, really interesting. Look beyond those. Russia, for instance, shows a remarkably high CGR of 7.31%.
Oh.
And then you've got countries like Sweden and Denmark. Sweden's at 7.239%, Denmark at 7.305%. These are really surging.
So smaller Nordic countries showing very dynamic growth in this area.
Exactly. Even Luxembourg, which is, the smallest market listed here in Europe, it still posts a strong CGR of 7.044%. And Italy, Spain, Switzerland are all showing solid growth above 6.5% too. And the rest of Europe category is also significant, growing at nearly 6.5%.
That really paints a picture of, well, not just a few hotspots, but broad-based growth across the continent, accelerating healthcare needs, maybe?
I think that's right. It suggests more than just an aging population, though that's likely part of it. It could point to targeted investments in modernizing healthcare, maybe advancements in surgical techniques becoming more widespread.
So a broad push to enhance capabilities.
Seems like it, across a whole range of nations, not just the traditional economic powerhouses.
Fascinating. Okay, let's move to Asia Pacific. The report calls it a powerhouse of expansion for this market.
And the numbers back that up. The region started at over $53 million in 2021.
Right.
Projected to more than double, hitting $116.271 million by 2033. The overall regional CGR, 6.667%.
Strong, very strong. And within Asia Pacific?
China is the clear leader here. Largest market and growing fast with a 6.8% CAGR. It's projected to hit over $28 million by 2033.
Okay. And Japan is still a major medical market.
Yes, substantial. About $9.2 million in 2021, projected to reach over $20 million. Its CGR is slightly lower than China's, but still strong at 6.675%.
And what about India? Often a big growth story.
It is here, too. A strong CGR of nearly 6.9%, 6.868%, actually.
Wow.
South Korea is also impressive, pushing close to 7% CGR. Australia is even higher, over 7%, 7.05%.
Wow, Australia too.
Yeah. And then you have Singapore, Southeast Asia as a group, Taiwan, all showing solid, consistent growth rates, mostly in the mid-6% range.
So what does this all mean for Asia Pacific? What's the big takeaway?
Well, you've got significant market size combined with these really robust growth rates. It signals a rapidly evolving healthcare landscape across the region.
Right.
It probably points to increasing access to advanced medical care for, huge populations, likely coupled with rising incomes fueling demand for these kinds of procedures. The scale and the dynamism are really key here.
Okay. Let's turn to South America. The outline suggested some surprisingly consistent trajectories there.
Yes, surprisingly strong and consistent. The region as a whole started just under $15 million in 2021.
Okay.
And it's forecast to reach over $33 million by 2033. That gives it a regional CAGR of almost 7%, 6.991% to be exact. Very strong.
Nearly 7% for the whole region. Who's driving that?
Well, Brazil is the largest market, growing at a solid 6.572%. Argentina is also showing good momentum, 6.851%. But then you see some standouts. Colombia has a high BATGR for its size, nearly 7.2%, 7.197%.
Right.
And Chile is even slightly higher, 7.241%. Peru is solid too, around 6.6%.
But what really jumps out looking at these notes is the rest of South America category. It has the highest KGR listed here.
That's right, 7.488%. That's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. It suggests the growth isn't just concentrated in the biggest economies. There's something broader happening.
Exactly. It indicates widespread enhancement of healthcare capabilities, maybe developing infrastructure across a broader range of nations within the continent, a broadening base of need and capacity.
Very interesting pattern. Okay, let's move to the Middle East, described here as emerging markets with solid growth.
And that seems apt. The region started at over $16 million in 2021, projected to reach almost $35 million, $34.56 million by 2033. The overall CAGR is 6.459%, solid, like you said.
And within the region?
Saudi Arabia leads the pack. It's the largest market here, growing at 6.779%, expected to cross $10 million by 2033. Turkey, the UAE, Egypt, they all show strong positive growth rates too, mostly in the mid-6% range, reflects investment in healthcare.
And even smaller markets like Qatar.
Yep, Qatar, while smaller in absolute terms, still shows healthy annual growth, just over 6.5%.
And the rest of the Middle East?
Also contributes significantly, growing at just under 6%, 5.97%, but still representing a sizable chunk of the market. It reinforces that positive trend across the region.
So consistent growth across the board there, likely reflecting those investments in modern healthcare infrastructure.
I think so. Often driven by, rising incomes in some areas, growing populations, and a general push for more advanced medical treatments.
Yeah. Last but not least, Africa. The report calls it the frontier of growth.
An interesting term. The overall regional data shows just over $21 million in 2021.
Right.
Projected to more than double, hitting over $43 million, $43.282 million by 2033. The regional CAGR is 6.201%.
So still solid growth, slightly above North America's average, interestingly.
It is. Nigeria is the largest African market highlighted in this specific data set. Started around $7.5 million, projected to nearly double to almost $15 million by 2033. Its CAGR is just under 6%. 5.928%.
Hence Africa?
South Africa shows robust growth too, projected to reach nearly $10 million by 2033, with a slightly higher CAGR than Nigeria at 6.416%.
Okay, and then there's the rest of Africa category again.
Yes, and it's significant. Over $8.8 million in 2021, projected to grow to over $18.5 million. Its CAGR is 6.307%.
So again, this suggests the growth isn't just isolated to one or two major countries. It seems broader.
It does. It points towards expanding healthcare access, improving medical facilities in various parts of the continent. While maybe the overall pace is a bit behind, say, Asia-Pacific or parts of Europe, it definitely signifies foundational improvements and increasing capacity for this type of specialized care.
Well, that was quite a journey through the numbers. We've taken a real deep dive into the global thoracic catheters market today.
Hey, we certainly have.
And what this report clearly shows us is, well, a remarkably consistent and robust growth story across pretty much all regions, most countries, right, from 2021 through the projection to 2033.
The overall market, as we said, is projected to more than double from that 2021 value, reaching well over $500 million by 2033.
So what's the key takeaway here? What does this report truly highlight?
I think it really underscores the underlying and clearly expanding demand for these specific medical devices on a global scale. It's a clear signal of ongoing developments, ongoing needs within healthcare systems worldwide.
Right, from North America's stable base
to Europe's varied and often accelerating expansion, Asia-Pacific's powerhouse growth, and those really promising trends we saw in South America, the Middle East, and Africa. The picture is one of, well, universal expansion in this critical, even if it's sometimes unseen, medical sector.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture then, what might this consistent global growth in such a specific, vital medical market tell you about the evolving landscape of global healthcare needs, and maybe about medical innovation too? It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other niche but absolutely critical sectors might be seeing similar quiet but profound growth, reflecting this ever-adapting global health system? It certainly gives you something powerful to think about.